I mean, you've had a couple, pretty much about a day to digest now. So, just to describe that feeling when you hear your name called, you get up to the stage, you shake some hands, and you put on that Ducks jersey.
Yeah, I mean, when I sit there and the picks go, and you're being a little bit nervous, but when I hear my name, it's really emotional. When I have my family and everyone around me, so it was a big moment, and very very happy when I just heard my name.
Yeah, I mean, you've been celebrating since then. So you said you're spending some time with family right now. You planning on? Are you guys still in Dallas now, or are you planning on going back home and celebrating with some family in Sweden?
No, I mean, I have some days now in Dallas here with my family, and going to Orange County on Tuesday. I fly down. So yeah.
So for us who haven't seen a lot of your game here as Ducks fans, who would you say you modeled your game after? There's so many great Swedes, but you growing up, who did you idolize?
Yeah, I mean, as you said, I have looked up to many Swedes, like Swedish centers, like Zetterberg and Bäckström, like Peter Forsberg. He was playing also, so we're a bit of Swedish centers, I would say.
And then, so you say you like those guys. I know Peter Forsberg is kind of he's kind of a more of the heavy hitter, but also could put the puck in the net and played some defense too. But what is your style of play? How do you like to play the game?
I would say I'm a strong two-way center. I like to carry the puck and pretty strong at the puck at the boards, and always try to do my teammates better, and really good at the skates when I get to the top speed. So yeah.
And you'll be back in Sweden next year, and you'll be playing another season in there before making a decision where to go after that. Well, what are some things you're looking to improve on to take your game to the next level next season?
I mean, of course, my face-offs, and I had a good year last season in Luleå, and I felt my D zone has been better, but I need to improve a little bit to get more into the net and take a little bit more shots and be a little more selfish. And I'm often passing a little bit too much, but maybe shooting a little bit often, and I want to develop my offense also.
For sure. And you think it would be nice to kind of get that pressure, I guess, off of your shoulder? I know going into the draft season, you've got that pressure of trying to impress a bunch of teams. Now you get to go back. You're part of the Anaheim Ducks. Now you're part of an organization. Is it a little bit of a relief, and you think it'll take that weight off your shoulder for next season?
Yeah, exactly. Now it's been a little bit of a tough year when you had the draft and much scouts looking you, and so I mean, as you said, everything is over, and you can do that you're good at. So I mean, I think it's going to be a great season now. So yeah. So
as you've probably heard, I think from most people now, there's like a loving term in Anaheim referring to as Swedenheim, with a lot of the Swedes who are playing in Anaheim currently, of course, Rickard Rakell, Jakob Silfverberg, Jakob Larsson, Hampus Lindholm. Have you talked to any of those guys, or do have they helped you kind of in this transition coming over and being part of the organization?
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice to have the Swedes, and I heard that Anaheim also likes the Swedes. So I mean, it's just comfortable to have them in the team also, and I know them both a little bit. I think they have the same agent as me also. So I mean, that's good.
Then I got to talk to you. I know it was a tough game in the final with the World Juniors, but I've always wondered what that experience was like, being able to represent your country in such a celebrated tournament. I mean, like I said, I know it wasn't the outcome you hoped for, but what was that like being on the world stage?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really nice experience, and it's so big when it's in the North America. I mean, you have always looking then when you was a kid back home in Sweden, on the games always been like 1 o'clock on the night. So I mean, it was a really, really good experience, but it was tough to lose the finals. But it was very nice to to represent your team and the Sweden. So yeah.
I mean, the Swedes are taking over the NHL. Isaac, I know that Victor Hedman just winning the Norris Trophy, and then everyone knows Erik Karlsson. I mean, is that that's a huge deal for you guys, right? That's a huge deal for the country.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Swedes are good to represent the players, and you get much talent from Sweden. So, I mean, I think they are really good to do the Swedes really good and skilled and good at skates. I mean, of course, you have looked up to as you said, Victor Hedman and Erik Karlsson and these guys. I mean, it's just fun, and when they are the Swedes.
And the last thing we'll close out here is a little bit of shift away from hockey. But are you taking in any of the World Cup? Are you watching Sweden and Group F and how they're performing?
What you say? Say again.
Oh, sorry. I said, are you taking in any of the World Cup this summer and how Sweden's doing?
Yeah, I mean, Sweden always have good team at the World Cup, and I watched it when they won the World Cup now also, and had an amazing team. And I mean, hopefully for one day I will be there, and that's my dream also.
All right, perfect, Isaac. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of the celebration with your family and coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right,
thanks, Isaac. Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right, so I mean, I guess kind of a surprise interview having the Ducks' first-round draft pick Isac Lundestrom on the show. Like I said to him before he left, it was really great for us to be able to get him on. He took some time out of celebrating with his family to come on the show. I mean, that was great. A little bit of a tough thing getting him on the show in the middle of the show, but fun nonetheless.
No, that was awesome. I thought it was great that he wanted to even pop on to this little podcast, right? He was just like, that's cool. I'll come on the show. So that's awesome, man. I really appreciated that he was able to make it on. And, hopefully, he'll spread the word, right? When he gets in and starts talking to all his fellow Swedes, we can get some more Ducks players on through him.
It's a little bit hopeful, but I mean, hey, it's been great so far. We've had some different guys on. It was great to get them on. Again, for anybody listening live in right now in the show, thank you for sticking with us there for a bit when we tried to get things up there in a little bit of hectic and getting him into the call. So for everybody listening after, we won't actually hear this because we're going to edit this out. But let's move on now. Let's move on to the multitude of topics that we have of everything that's kind of been going around the NHL and the Ducks. What do you want to start on? I mean, we've got endless amounts of stuff to talk about today. It's going to be a long one.
That's all good, man. Let's start with the Bob Murray article put together by Eric Stevens, who's now left the Register and it went to the Athletic. So if you guys don't have an Athletic subscription, oh my God, you've waited too long. But now you have every reason to jump in because now it's massive Ducks coverage with him in there. And then Josh Cooper's in there as well. Who am I forgetting? There's another writer that just went in to write Duck stuff. Yeah, Lisa Dillman's in there. So you got some great writers representing Anaheim. So go get the Athletic subscription, and you can check out this Bob Murray article that we can talk about right now. Bob got into contract situations with players that he, looking ahead when he's talking about John Gibson, and he's also talking about Henrique, and he's also talking about guys right now, Nick Ritchie, Andre Kasha, Brandon Montour. But there was something in there, Eddie, and it kind of seemed like Bob was maybe frustrated, trying to make things happen here and there with a player. Who do you think he was talking about? Trying to make things happen, trying to make changes to this team, but it's been a little bit more difficult than I thought. Who could he possibly be talking about moving?
I mean, the quote that sticks out for me was when he said, I think the players better look in the mirror pretty quick. Let's put it this way. Come September, I'm starting with a real hard look at the leadership group, and we'll work from that. I think he's calling out, Getzlaf, Perry, Ryan Kessler. Maybe Ryan Kessler not so much, obviously, with the injuries, but I think he's directly calling out Ryan Getzlaf, and maybe a little bit more so in Corey Perry, because he also did call out Corey Perry, and now he has to change his game at the exit interviews. I feel like Perry is the brunt of his frustration right now, and it kind of shows in some of the comments that he had in this interview with Eric Stevens.
It almost seems like he's been trying to move him.
Yeah.
And it just hasn't happened. And he's, honestly, it's got to go through two doors. It's got to go through the first door to Corey Perry, and Perry has to go, yeah, I'm willing to move, and I'm willing to move there. Like, he's got to be okay with the trade.
Yeah.
And then, secondly, Bob's got to find a buyer. Who's going to buy this gigantic contract? Like, that's one of the crazy things for me is he's going to have to take probably the short end of the stick in the short term. And maybe hope to get like a prospect or something down the line, but you're not going to get an instant impact, I think, in a trade with Corey Perry. You're mostly just offloading salary.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and again, touching on the Corey Perry stuff, Murray in the same article said it wouldn't be bad to have some change, but it's turning out to be harder than I thought. And again, I mean, when you look at the potential of who you could move out and really change some things, the only ones that would be difficult are moving Ryan Getzlaf, Corey Perry, and Ryan Kessler. I mean, maybe you can make an argument for Andrew Cogliano, but why would they move him after just signing him? It really looks like it's coming down to Corey Perry when you take not just this article into consideration, but things that he said at the end of the season. It really looks like he's trying to move him. And he also said that, with teams waiting on John Tavares and John Carlson and Ilya Kovalchuk, that there's lots of talk, but nothing's really happening because they're waiting for those dominoes to fall. Well, we've now seen Kovalchuk is in LA. Carlson just signed an 8x8 earlier this afternoon, and now we're all just waiting on John Tavares. And I think once that last pillar falls, not necessarily teams are going to be knocking on the door for Corey Perry, but I think it'll be a little bit easier to move him. And if he's really pushing hard, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to go as far as saying he's going to not be a Duck come the start of next season, but it really does look like you said that he's kind of pushing his way out.
Yeah, I don't think you can blame Getz. I mean, if you're talking about off-ice stuff, maybe there's stuff going on in that locker room. Maybe it's too cliquey. There's, who knows? I don't know what's going on in that locker room. So if it's about Getzlaf, it can't be about his on-ice play. That guy's been a beast, and he was injured and still put up, insane numbers last season. Looking at Ryan Kessler, we all know what he's gone through. We've the extensive media coverage about his hip surgery, learning how to skate properly, learning how to walk properly again, all that stuff that that's what we could touch on too. All the stuff about him maybe not playing next season thrown out there by Elliot Friedman. Yeah. Bob Murray didn't like that. No. At all. He said that he's fishing. Yeah, he was not happy with that comment whatsoever. But in that same article, he wouldn't confirm or deny, right? He wouldn't say like that's not a complete option or it's not something we're looking at. He was kind of mum on it. He kind of wants to let Kessler take his own conditioning and see what happens, I'm sure, and let the doctors decide. But at the end of the day, all signs point to Corey Perry. I can't see where else. I mean, maybe you can move Silverberg to make the deal more interesting and give somebody a worthy, middle six winger. I mean, he's never going to play a top line role. He's just not that guy. But he's a guy who can put in 20 to 25 goals a year, right? With proper line mates and maybe some power play time. But I don't see he could be looking at anybody else.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go as far as major changes, I mean, if you do end up being able to move out Corey Perry, you're probably going to have to retain some salary. So let's say you clear about $6 million off, and you bring in some minor assets back, some younger guys maybe that you can add into your bottom six or, God forbid, your top nine later on down the road. Then maybe that cap space opens up the room to go out and maybe go after a guy like Jeff Skinner or Wayne Simmons or Max Pacioretty, and then again, Silverberg might be a guy who would also be part of a deal like that anyway. But yeah, I mean, it really does seem like Corey Perry, and if the Ducks are going to make any major changes, it kind of surrounds around him or packaging Jakob Silverberg for a different forward. The best quote by far before we move on from this, again, when Bob Murray was talking about Elliot Friedman, he said, as far as Elliot goes, keep throwing spaghetti at the wall and see what hits. So he's not happy. I mean, we've seen Bob Murray, especially lately, and with articles in The Athletic, be a little bit more candid. But it's really funny seeing this side of him, and because this is the type of guy you kind of expect him to be, and now we actually get it kind of confirmed with some of the stuff he's saying. Really doesn't like the speculation and stuff. I mean, I think it was it Jimmy Murphy who said that Hampus Lindholm wasn't going to sign, and then Bob Murray came out and basically said that's horseshit. And
yeah, no, and Travis Yost got in there with him too on Twitter. It was a Twitter war. Yeah. So
That's the real side of Bob Murray. So,
and that's what we're going to get from Eric Stevens now. I'm so stoked on the coverage.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
Well, let's talk about that a bit. Let's talk about the Athletic LA and